You guys, welcome back to the channel. Michael Claret Arts, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're gonna do something fun. Yes, we're drawing. Woohoo! Drawing channel actually put out a drawing video. But, of course, there's always a but, right? The great people at Flexispot is a company that creates and manufactures office furniture, as well as desks, standing desks, automated desks, all these wonderful products, right? They reached out and said, hey, we have got a product that we would like you to review. And I said, I don't know, because I don't really need, a chair. I just bought a chair. And they said, well, our chair's a little bit different. Our chairs are manufactured with the artist in mind and the gamer in mind. And those two things, at least one of them, artist, me, woo, digital artist, that's what I do. That applies to me, right? And the studio environment. I'm always saying, if the product applies to the studio environment in some capacity, sometimes it's a little loose, right? Loosey-goosey. But the chair definitely applies to the studio environment. They have a myriad of different products over there on Flexispot.com. And I definitely think that you should go over and have a look-see to see what they have to offer. But they said, hey, we've got a really cool chair that is specifically designed for what you do, which is digital illustration. Now, I do a lot of sitting, and I had a standing desk for a while, and I thought it was great. And, I definitely had benefits from it. But eventually, the older I got, and, me standing all day for 8, 10, 12, 15 hours, it just got to the point where I'm like, I need to balance this out a little bit. So I ended up getting a really nice office chair, and I used it for about 4 or 5 years, and then I segued over to another chair. That's what typically happens with me. I'll use things for about 4 or 5 years, then I'll upgrade. And recently I upgraded to a really nice chair I got off Amazon, made by a company that has been around for a long time. And I was perfectly satisfied. And that's when Flexispot reached out to me and they said, hey, we've got a chair. It's called the C7 Ergonomic chair. And there's different variations of this chair. And the one I'm going to be reviewing today is the C7G Foam FT. And that's a lot of words, right? It currently retails on their site for $309. Actually, it looks like it's on sale. Retails about $658.99. So it's a little bit over half off. So you can see, go to Flexispot.com, and there's a lot of reviews of this particular chair. Best office chairs of 2023, and it looks like this is actually one of them. It's got lower back support. It's got accommodations for a myriad of different sitting positions. And they've really thought about, the person that needs to sit all day, which is, kind of a guy like me. Now, what I want to make clear is, even though this chair was provided to me, by the company, they were very specific. Now, this is extremely different, right? This is what makes Flexispot a little bit different than other companies. I get contacted quite a bit, and people are like, let me send you our product and you review it. And then they kind of want to have a lot of control over the video. And that is not Flexispot. They were like, no. We want to send this to you. You create the video, you review it. And we want you to actually use it the way that you would use it, me as an illustrator. So I'm going to actually set it up, right? I'm going to unbox it. But I'm going to do time-lapse unboxing because the chair itself took a hot minute to assemble, and it came in a very large box. And, it wasn't hard to assemble, but the reality is I don't want you guys to sit there and twiddle your thumbs while I'm assembling a chair. So we're just going to do a really quick, kind of a fun fast forward of exactly what I went through to assemble this. Now, all the tools are included in this particular unit. So all the nuts and bolts, all the tools, everything came to me, and I used all of their stuff so I'd make sure that it was easy to assemble. Now, I have a very high degree of mechanic ability. I grew up repairing cars and fixing computers and just about anything whenever it comes to engines. However, I like to come at this as a layman, and anybody who can do this, right, and do this, that's me reading the manual, the instructions were super clear, and overall, I can't, sing Flexispot's praises enough to make sure that the end user doesn't have difficulty assembling. And if you do, call customer service. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a really quick unboxing, and I'll do, assembly, unboxing and assembly. And then we're gonna look at the product. We're gonna look at the fit and finish. We're gonna talk about what Flexispot is. Interesting name, by the way, Flexispot. This particular chair does come in different colors, and it comes in different options, whether it's mesh or foam. So the seating area can actually be foam or mesh. Now, the one that I got is foam, and it also has the optioned leg rest, which I thought was really cool. So let's go ahead and get started and see what Flexispot has to offer as I review the C7, let's go ahead and get this right, C7G-Foam-FT Ergonomic Office Chair. Let's get started. All right, putting together the Flexispot chair. So, like I said, I have a high degree of mechanical knowledge, but that really did not needed to be a factor whenever putting together this particular chair. The instructions are extremely clear. Everything is broken down and layered in the box to where it didn't really inhibit me from putting things together in a speedily manner. As always, because I'm one definitely for context, I wanted to make sure you guys got to see the fit and finish and quality of the product after I've assembled it. So, my goodness, look at this. Plastics are top-notch. I'm not seeing any seams. The adjustment levels are mighty and many. I mean, gosh, you can go up and down. You can go forward. You can go left and right. The fabric is very high quality. Not only from the footrest, here's a footrest that flips out, but also to the just the things that you would take for granted, like the casters. The casters are very high quality. I'm not hearing any bearing, grinding, or anything like that. You go underneath, and all of the elements that you would use for adjustment are there, right? Very clear in the instructions, and the all-important lumbar support. So this is typically where, sitting all day, this is where you have the issues. And this chair, ergonomically speaking, is created to enhance your proper posture so you don't end up having back issues. Here's the head adjustments right here, and the mesh so you don't get hot and you don't have back sweat, because we all know back sweat's bad. So let's go ahead and we're gonna show you exactly how I use this chair in a professional setting, because we're gonna do a drawing sitting in it. Right? Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun today, and I think you'll enjoy it. So here's my setup for the Flexispot C7 Ergonomic chair. Pretty simple. We're gonna sit down today. We're gonna have some fun drawing, doing a demo for you guys, and I'm gonna kind of give a play-by-play as I sit in the chair, drawing on my display tablet. This is pretty much the exact way that I would utilize this particular product in a professional environment. This is my professional setup. I've got my monitor right here. I've got my secondary monitor to the right. I've got my primary here in the center with my keyboard there on the left. What's really nice about the Flexispot unit is I can adjust these up and down and left and right and forward and backward. So whenever I'm working, not only can I have that support whenever I'm drawing on my large 24-inch display tablet, I don't have to stretch too far to, hit that keyboard on the left-hand side. And I can have this, supporting my arms at all time. And what's great about the Flexispot is the fact that it has this lumbar support that really helps out on those long days. I've got it locked currently to where it doesn't fold back whenever I sit in it, and I've got it positioned correctly for my height, and I've also got a foot stand. Now, this particular unit did come with the optional footrest. And I could utilize that, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to keep things really simple, and we're going to focus on the drawing. And I'm going to probably give you some play-by-plays, like I said, of the experience as we progress. So let's get busy drawing. Okay, and here we are. So this is my setup, sitting in the Flexispot chair, the C7. So I've been utilizing this chair now for just a little bit of time. And what I've noticed is, you know, in my old chair, whenever I was sitting in it, which actually I had a brand new chair, it was called the Serta Air chair, and it was a great chair, nothing wrong with it. But what I noticed with this particular chair is the adjustability, right? The adjustability is something that you cannot put, right, the cost on. I mean, if I need to lean back, if I need to go forward, if I need to tilt up, if I need to, you know, adjust the arms, that's something that really, you know, is an option that I didn't have before, because the Serta Air chair is kind of rigid. It only has like one, you know, forward and backward and up and down, and that's it. So I definitely, you know, based upon my experience so far, it's been a great ride. Okay, so what are we going to draw today? So the guys over at Flexispot said, hey, we'd be interested in having you do kind of a mashup. If any of you guys know what I do in my professional career, I'm a toy designer. And I design collectibles and toys. I do a lot of 3D work. But in a previous life, and I still do a lot of it, I do a lot of character work. So with that, character work meaning like style guide stuff, you know, stuff for Disney, stuff for Universal Studios, stuff for Marvel Entertainment, style guides. And that has to do with doing characters. So I've done a lot of characters for style guides, you know, for, you know, from Harry Potter to Marvel characters to Mickey Mouse to the Fab Five, right? And that's just something that I really enjoy doing. And one of the things, of course, like I said, that they wanted me to do was what's called a character mashup. So that's whenever you take two properties, we call them properties, and you choose a character and you mash them together, right? So the one that we're going to do today is one of my favorite characters, and that's Stitch. So for those of you who don't know who Stitch is, Lilo and Stitch, right? He's the lovable, quote-unquote, weapon. He is a weapon, alien, but, you know, he's always had that kind of lovable character side to him. And what I really wanted to do, and I talked to this over with the guys over at Flexispot, and I said, hey, because the popularity of Deadpool is really kind of, you know, since the new movie coming out, I said, why don't we do something with Deadpool? They're like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want. And I'm like, yay! So that's what we're doing today. We're doing a Stitch Deadpool mashup. So what I'm doing right now is something called the roadmap. So every character has its traits, right? So I'm going to I could do, you know, Deadpool and then kind of put a couple traits. Maybe Deadpool has like the ears and stuff like that. Or Deadpool, you know, still in a human form. Maybe he has a Stitch nose and Stitch eyes. Maybe some Stitch hands, right? But instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Stitch, but he's kind of dressed as Deadpool, because I think that's probably the one that makes the most sense. So in terms of the roadmap, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going in, very lightly placing the character roadmap for Stitch. So, just so you know that, you know, you don't do things without reference. That's going to be my reference point right there. Again, Stitch's nose is quite large. Now, I can take some liberties with him because he's going to be a little bit stylized, but overall, we're going to really try and stay true to the overall look of Stitch. So, right, his nose goes like this. And since I've got to put him in Deadpool's costume, I've got to, again, use kind of creative juices here as I try and do things that make sense, right? So then putting that creative roadmap, or not a creative roadmap, putting that roadmap in, I have to decide on what I'm doing. So Deadpool, if you've ever seen any kind of illustration with Deadpool, he's kind of kooky, right? Kooky and quirky, and basically, basically does things for shock value, and that's kind of what we're going to do with this. Stitch, as Deadpool, is going to be riding a unicorn. Yeah, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? So, I'm going to do a little bit of narration here and there, but the reality is this illustration is probably going to take a couple hours. So we're going to put you guys on time-lapse here soon, but I wanted to get this to a point. Let's go ahead and pull this reference up again. Put that right about there. Okay. So he's got this little divot right there. And then the nose, right, comes around here. Now, one of the things, and I keep after referring back to the Flexispot, obviously, because they're helping sponsor this video. And this is a review of the Flexispot. This isn't necessarily a drawing video, but it is a drawing video. With the Flexispot, it puts you in a seating position that it constantly supports your lower back. You can take the arms and you can raise them up and down. And what I like about this is, before, with the other chair that I was utilizing, I couldn't have the armrests higher. I always wanted them higher because whenever I'm drawing, I don't want pressure on my shoulders, and I don't want pressure on my neck. I don't want any of that pressure. So with the Flexispot, it kind of hits all those spots, after I'm, have adjusted it properly, obviously. A lot of people ask me, so what do you do in your career? What is your main job? So my main job is designing collectibles for the entertainment market. I was a freelancer for 10 years. I freelanced full-time for 10 years. And only until recently did I come on board with a company that specializes in creating collectibles and toys for the entertainment market. Entertainment being like theme parks and special events and stuff like that. They also do stuff for retail, which is also pretty cool. So I'm definitely busy pretty much all the time nowadays. And that's, gosh, I can't tell you how many times as an artist I've had so many people ask me, how do you make it? How do you make it as an artist? Well, the first thing you have to learn is you can't give up. And you have to practice all the time. That's important to note. Whoops. And, you will have days that you don't want to do it. And you're like, you mean there'll be days that I don't want to draw Mickey Mouse and Stitch and Marvel characters and stuff? Yeah, there'll be days like that. But the thing is if you're continually renewing those skill sets, right? Your drawing, your creative bank account, your fuel, right? You fuel properly, you get enough sleep. Those are the things that are really, really important, especially, if you plan to do this for a very long time, like I have. You have to take care of yourself. And that involves continually learning, taking care of yourself physically, working out, making sure you eat right, make sure you get enough sleep, and not really stressing too much about the big and the small things, right? You're like, how can I not stress about the big things? Well, that, sometimes has to be a choice, choosing the right studio items, getting the right computer, getting the right furniture, that's why we're testing out this Flexispot unit. All those things are important. But I definitely, you know, if you're kind of on the fence, you're like, I don't know if I could ever do that. Well, you'll never know if you don't try, right? So, what I'm going to do, because I know you guys don't want to listen to me yap the whole time, is I'm going to go ahead and put in the roadmap, right? That's the rough sketch. And then once we look at the rough sketch, then we're going to refine it and we're going to color it. And we're going to I'm going to kind of explain the whole process, right? So I start out with a rough sketch, an idea, a rough sketch. And that's kind of what this is, right? So rough sketch, you know, is going to be riding a unicorn. Unicorn goes like this. Right here, from here, he's holding something right here. Got his fingers that come around. And like this, and he's got. Of course, with Deadpool, he's got to have a sword, you know, and Stitch, you know, as a weapon, he has his laser pistols, right? And if you notice, a lot of times you'll see these lines that I'll place on the drawing. That really helps me determine, right, the girth, the thickness, right, comes here. Here's that foot, maybe the other foot's up top here. Right, he's kind of leaning back a little bit. Right, here's his knee. Comes around, there's his belly. Here's that belt. Right, and you see too, I'll zoom in and out to see relationships, because if I'm always zoomed in like this, I can't see everything else around me. Now, some people put that little preview box up here, which I think is completely fine if you want to do that. And that it's a window. It's not the history. What is that? Information navigator? Yeah, there it is. So that helps some people if you like to have that, right? And you can make it larger or smaller. And you can zoom in and out using the navigator. You can make it bigger. Like I want it right here. And I zoom in. And I can still see the entire composition, which is really nice. But for me, I just zoom in and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place you guys on time lapse, because at the end of the day, this drawing is going to take probably about 2.5 to 3 hours to do. And as I progress, right, you're going to see like in the stage it is now, and then I'll flash into, you know, a more rougher sketch, a more complete sketch. And then from there, we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about what's happened since you've been gone. Right? Unicorns have to have tails, right? And they have to be kind of swishies. Right? Alright, so let's go ahead and get you guys on time lapse. Okay, so we've landed on the rough sketch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to start putting in some of those little visual items that I think really will help me whenever I go to final sketch. I'm sorry, final line. So we're not going to get extremely tight with this because just of timeline. Overall, it just takes a little bit of time to create something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, this is just kind of a dip in for you guys to kind of see the creative process. And we're going to ink this. Basically, it's going to be kind of a rough ink. I like my work to be not super, super tight. I like things to have kind of a hand-drawn quality to them. So that's what we're going to do, is I'm going to give it a hand-drawn quality. And we're going to change the color. It's going to be black. We're going to come back, and we're going to just start putting in, right, some of these lines. Some of them will be really loose, some of them will be tighter, but at the end of the day, here we go. We're just going to have some fun with it. That's what we're going to do. So far, I haven't had any issues. Now, one of the things that I did like, and again, got to go back to the Flexispot because that's, what we're doing today. The fact that, I can lower this, right? Even though I like to have my hand right here, I've got the armrest right here, and it goes up and down. I can lower it, and then I have much more freedom of movement with my right arm, so I can get a much broader area of stroke, and I don't have to worry about things. And then whenever I start doing detail work, I raise that arm up, and I can basically get in there and not have to worry about my arm getting tired. So, all right, that's a lot of words. So let's go ahead and getting busy on the mashup of Stitch and Deadpool. Who is Deadpool? I think a lot of people don't know who Deadpool is. I'm not going to give you a lesson on who Deadpool is, so Google him. He's kind of a, I don't know, there's a preview, I believe, on YouTube for the new Deadpool movie that's coming out, and that's another reason why I did this, is because, again, that preview, right, is one of the more popular previews. Because Deadpool tends to be a little bit more edgy, right? And so is Stitch. So, you notice that even though I've got that sketch underneath, I don't want to, trace. That's not what this is. This isn't a tracing exercise. You always have to look at that underlying drawing and you think, okay, what's going to be the best line, to push and pull that form. Right? Yeah. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. See, and a lot of people are going to ask about this brush that I'm using. This is my favorite brush. I've actually tweaked it somewhat from the creator. So this is not my creation. The original brush was not my creation, but the brush in its current configuration is, because I've tweaked it so much. Changed the texture a little bit. I've changed the pressure curve quite a bit. But if you're interested in the baseline brush, I believe you can go to creatureartteacher.com, which is the art of Aaron Blaze. He's an ex-Disney animator, director, wildlife extraordinaire, art guy. Sells tons of really cool tutorials on his site. So definitely check him out. And you can get this brush, I believe, as part of the basic set that he either sells, or you can get it for free whenever you sign up for his newsletter. So, I'm not trying to plug him, but I get so many communications about this brush. And they're like, I want that brush. Well, you can get it for free just like I did. Just sign up for the newsletter, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and put you guys on time-lapse as I progress through this mashup of Deadpool and Stitch. Now you see I've left some of these on these little squigglies on here. And that is basically, again, because I like to have that kind of hand-drawn feel to it. Not everybody likes that, and I totally get that. You know, it's not for everybody. So you do your drawing. You do how you want to draw, right? Okay. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get you guys back on time lapse so we can get this drawing to a point where we can color it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is basically I'm going to do something called, how do I put it? Going back and not so much correcting mistakes, but enhancing the drawing that I think is there, right? So there's something called variation of line weight, and obviously you see not every line has the same width. This line is not the same width as this line, nor the pressure. And a lot of that really depends on, artistic license and what I think needs to happen in the drawing. So what I'm going to do is, again, we're going to put you guys on time lapse because, things like this take a long time. It just takes such a long time sometimes, right? And I want to make sure and cover these areas that are important in the drawing, but art is subjective, right? Somebody could look at this and say, oh, that's fine, and then somebody else could look at it and say, man, you're just getting started. And I tend to err on the side of rough because I like the drawings that are rough. Literally, if I had my choice, right, at the end of the day, I would take that and I would color it. And you're like, well, it's so short-sighted. Well, the expression is there in the drawing, right? I want to keep that drawing. To add this layer of ink, you see the difference between that and this is pretty substantial. So, you know, even though I did this, right, and I like this, and I could continue to keep tweaking this, sometimes drawings like this are just perfectly fine. You know, all this really rough stuff you put in there, and if I go in and I put the, you know, the background in, maybe since he's going to have a red uniform, it's kind of a, maybe it's a purple unicorn. Maybe it's a purple unicorn with a pink mane, right? Purple, pink, red. You know, the opposite of red is green. So I like to do things that have complements. So maybe it's a, maybe that explosion right there. I'm trying to think in terms of color theory, right? Because I want it to have a nice balance. So let's do the background as kind of like maybe like an orange color. Like an orange color. Edit fill. Oops. The last second I hit the eyedropper on accident. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's try it again. I think I've done this before. So then what I'd probably do, right, even though I like that, I mean, gosh, that drawing is just so, it's got so much life to it. I hate to get rid of the drawing in lieu of polish, right? I'm never one for polish. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my gut. So let's go ahead and let's do this. We're going to go to our brushes. Now, for those of you who don't know me on the channel and have not visited me before, welcome. You know, not only we're reviewing a chair today, but we're doing a drawing. So yeah, I've got a lot of brushes, and I use maybe 3 to 5% of them. But the ones that I do use, I really like. So I'm trying to find the ones that, where is it? I know they're here. No, where are they? Oh, not down there. Kyle, no, Joel, yeah, there. Okay, so I love this brush from Lush. Not that one. Is it that one? Yes, it's this one. So I take taper off, and I can go in, and I can just start blocking in, right? Further off it gets, the less saturated it is. And what's nice about drawings like this is just how much fun you can have with them, right? You can put some really just some beautiful hues in there. You're still using that really live drawing, right? And of course I've got my final drawing, but it kind of deadens it, right? I don't like that. So let's go ahead. Let's keep this drawing. Let's go ahead and hit image. Desaturate. And then we might do... Depends. Because, see, this is kind of that crossroads that takes a lot of time, especially in context of a drawing. You know, if you don't have a clear vision, if you don't have art direction, if you don't have any of that, then you don't really have a roadmap. And this is kind of where I'm at right now. I just want to have fun. Just want to have fun. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to put you guys on time lapse, and I'm just going to have some fun, because that's what I want to do, right? What color is that? Okay, so like in this area that I cut and pasted, I had to adjust the arm just a little bit. I'm going to go back. Yeah. Oops, I'm going to keep that taper on. So we're just going to shore up some of these areas. Right? Yeah. Because I just, whenever I do stuff like this, again, art is subjective, and some people were like, well, you can make it really tight, you can do this. I just, I want to have fun today, so... By the way, the chair is performing fantastically. I don't know if I said that already. Yeah, I mean, how do you, right? You sit in the chair, it works great, it's not uncomfortable, I don't feel fatigued. You know, and believe it or not, I have sat in a lot of chairs over my years and years of drawing. And this is definitely one of the best. So basically now what I'm doing, since I want to keep that underlying sketch there, it's not being lazy, it's just being creative. I just want to be creative, right? I like that underlying sketch. So I'm just going to go in and I'm start putting some shadows here and there, right? And then whenever I want to. So let's go ahead and just going to brighten that up just a little bit and make it a little bit darker. Okay. Artistic license. I do whatever I want. It's my drawing. Sometimes you got to say that, right? It's my drawing. I get told what to do all day long. Sometimes I'm just like, it's my drawing. I do's what I wants. Okay, so again, we're going to put you guys on time lapse as I complete this lovely mashup of Stitch and Deadpool for Flexispot C7 Ergonomic chair. Hot sitting action. It is a nice chair. I'm just trying to have fun, right? Just trying to have fun. That's the wrong brush, G. Turn off the taper. Yeah. That's a explosion. All right, so time lapse. Okay, so right now what you're seeing on the screen basically is something called a color block-in. Local color, right? That's the artistic term, local color, because it's color that has not been adjusted for light and shadow, right? So if there's an object that you have in front of you, right, and you don't have any light sources on it that give it shadow or give it highlights, then that would be local color. There's a myriad of different ways that you can put in color, especially in the digital environment. But this is kind of the easy way that I do it. I just go in and, right, your costume's red, you put in the red color. Right, in the body of the unicorn is going to be kind of an off-white. And I just progress through and I put stuff in that makes the most amount of sense. Now, I do have things on layers. You can see things on layers as I toggle back and forth. And if I need to change that color, I can always go in and I can put a different color in there altogether, or I can go to the color adjustment to hue and saturation on his gun, and I can go in and I can change the color of the gun, right? It's pretty simple. That's what's great about working in the digital environment, is especially working in layers. Layer compositing, layer adjustment, layer hierarchy, all these terminologies that apply to the digital artist that don't necessarily apply to the traditional artist. So I'm not trying to drag things on, but it's always fun to get context in the in the midst of creating an illustration. Yeah, I still have the black and white line drawing that I initially did that kind of corrected some of the issues, but I fell in love with the drawing so much that I'm going to go ahead and leave it. And we're just going to place some color in here. We're going to have some fun and make it an artsy-fartsy piece, right? Artsy-fartsy, kind of, you know, interpretive dance, but it's in art form, visual art form. So we're just going to have some fun, put some texture in there, put some movement, and just overall have a good time with this piece. You know, I don't want to say I struggled with this piece, because I don't typically struggle with pieces anymore. Just because if I see something going sideways, I really kind of open my arms and I'm like, bring in the issues, right? Because a lot of those times, those issues will bring unexpected great things that your art can become, right? If we're so rigid and we're so opposed to change inside of the context of the art, then suddenly your art becomes stale and it doesn't have any life anymore. Now, if you're working on stuff for money and you're being told what to do, that's a completely different animal. But this, I'm just having fun for you guys as I sit in the Flexispot chair, right? And I enjoy the comfort of this chair that is absolutely fantastic, right? And we draw Stitch / Deadpool riding on a unicorn. So anyway, so we're going to go back to time lapse, and hopefully the next time I see you guys, I will be like 95 to 100% done. So, you know, that's one of those things where you're like, well, I could stop now, and then where am I going to be? So, yeah, so let's go ahead and put you guys back on time lapse, and we'll see you on the other side, okay? Enjoy. We're going to land with the drawing today while sitting in the Flexispot C7 Ergonomic chair. Just want to remind you of that. So I had a really great time today. Actually, it's been quite a few days because in the nature of my business and my career and what I do outside of YouTube, this particular exercise in review took quite a bit longer than I would have hoped, but it gave me a really unique opportunity as a reviewer of a product. So this particular drawing took me about 2.5 to 3 hours total, and I just had a really good time doing it. You know, Stitch as Deadpool, they kind of go together, right? Both are weapons, both are really kind of quirky, indestructible, and of course, riding a unicorn is always fun. And yeah, so I really had a good time. Big shout out to Flexispot for recommending me combine two characters as a mashup. So one of the things that was very important to Flexispot, as well as any product reviewer, is to have clarity of product, right? So they sent over a really handy dandy talking point PDF. So we're going to go through it really quick. So it's got self-adaptive dynamic system with lumbar support. As you see, it's got different seating positions from your standard to your working. to your relaxation if you want to sit back. It's just got multitude and a myriad of different seating positions. You know, it supports weight up to 320 pounds. That's the max loading capacity. I'm sure that, you know, based upon that max, that's not the breaking point, right? You could probably push beyond that, but at the end of the day, they put a number on there for safety. You see all of the different positions here, from the adjustable headrest to the back support to a breathable mesh. We talked about that. I can definitely say through the duration of using this for about 3.5 weeks, I've had it for almost a month, and it hasn't gotten hot at all. The adjustable armrests, definitely a plus and a bonus. They can go up and down, they can rotate left and right, and they can go forward and aft. So that's really important. Your adjustable seat depth, you can adjust the seat upwards and downwards. If any of you have electric seats in cars, think of it as a manual. Like the electric seats have so many different positions. That's what the Flexispot C7 chair has. The biomimetic, that's an interesting word, back support. I think basically what they're trying to say is it's got resistance, but it's not pushing back on you all the time and it causing pain, right? Adjustable seat height, that's pretty standard in the seat environment, as well as, like I said, forward seat, and it's got 190 to 128 degrees. So if you want to get in this chair, right, after a long day of work, you want to just sit back for a second. You know, you can lock it, which is what I had the most of the time that I used it. But if you want to go ahead and have it to where it goes all the way back and you just want to chill for 30 minutes, this chair is fully capable of doing that. Fully enclosed headrest. You can adjust it at the level that you desire from up to down, and it also goes forward and backward. 4D adjustable armrest, we talked about that. Forward, left and right, aft, and up and down. So that's 4 ways that it can adjust there. 20-inch seat provides plenty of room to be cross-legged. So the platform, I've been on so many different chairs, especially in the office environment, where the footprint, and I'm talking about where your hind end sits, is too small. And whenever you fold your legs up under you, if you just want that position, maybe to concentrate or whatever you're doing, it doesn't have enough room. I can safely say that the hind end footprint definitely has enough room for you to cross your legs, and it basically adapts to you. You can kind of customize and tune things as you go. The footrest. So I think that, you know, basically I didn't use the footrest as much. Actually, it's a leg rest. It's not so much quote unquote a footrest. It's more like a leg support. I didn't use it as much as I thought I would, just because I have, in the position that I have at my desk, the distance between my tablet and my legs is not too great. So having that out, it was creating a different dynamic that wasn't really great for my particular situation. However, when I move the chair out and I have it just in the center of the room, the leg rest, and whenever I have it fully reclined, it is really, really comfortable. You know, one of the things that you can see here in the PDF, it says I can sleep comfortably on the C7. I can safely say, you know, if any of you have seen those zero gravity chairs that basically, you know, it supports you all the way back, this is very similar to that in effect that it covers all those areas. You don't have things like drooping off to the side, right? Your arm's not going off to the side or anything like that. You know, whenever you do purchase this, it's got a 30-day free return, and it's got a 10-year warranty in foam and mesh options. So that's one of the things that you need to understand. Flexispot is going to stand behind their product overall, and I think that, you know, basically whenever you sit down for as long as I do every single day, what you buy really matters, especially in the context of the studio environment, right? I didn't have any issues, and that's one of the things that I expect. I expect not to have any issues. So, you know, basically, what did I think, right? We've covered the basis about the information. We've covered the C7. We've covered the price point. We've covered the features. What did I think of the C7 chair? So final thoughts on the C7 Flexispot ergonomic chair. overall, I think that I got a really good handle on exactly what this is and what this is not, right? What it is not a, uh, it is not a static, non-adjustable, uncomfortable chair, right? Chairs in the artistic environment, especially as a digital illustrator, need to be dynamic. They need to be supportive. They need to have quality materials. They need to have materials that don't inhibit me from creativity. They need to have flexibility in terms of adjustment. They need to, they need to accent my workflow. And that is exactly what this chair did. I was able to create this particular piece. Now, obviously, this piece took about 2.5 to 3 hours total from concept to finish. And I didn't do all of that at once, right? I split it up in so many different parts. And then, in and amongst that, I worked in my professional career using the chair. And I've done that over about 3.5 to 4 weeks. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was so, I don't want to say skeptical in the beginning, because honestly, a chair is a chair, right? And you sit in it and you kind of modify it and you do the best that you can based upon the money that you have at the moment. I remember being in the studio, or even in the studio in Orlando, and also working in corporate. And a lot of times their viewpoint on chairs is very simple: cheap and durable. And that's pretty much it. Very rarely do you find a company that wants to spend, $300, $400, $500, $600, $800, or $1,000 on a chair that is designed to accent a creative workflow. Flexispot did the research. They did the R&D, research and development. They, asked people that sat in it. They put it out in the marketplace. As testing, they tested the chair with creatives and gamers, for that matter. There's so many chairs out there now that look really cool and they've got all these colors on them. And at the end of the day, a gamer will sit in it and he won't really, be able to sit in it for an extended length of time. And because it's not designed to accent his body form, right? It hurts in certain places. It's not adjustable. And Flexispot thought about gamers. They thought about artists. They thought about illustrators. They thought about digital artists and graphic designers. And I think this is a perfect companion for those looking for a solution to possible back issues, leg issues, hip issues, shoulder issues, right? With the padding being like memory foam at the bottom, and then the armrests are also padded. The back has lumbar support, and I can adjust it and tune it to however I like. And that's important to me as a user. This illustration was kind of like an accent, kind of like icing on the top, because I wanted to show that, Flexispot is not all about just, furniture. They have a creative side to them, and that has to really, if you have somebody that has a creative side and you have somebody that basically is production minded and engineering minded, and a lot of times they clash, but Flexispot thought of the creative. They're the ones that really came up with the idea to mash the two characters together. I could have done that, and I really kind of brought it together, obviously, at the end of the day. But, whenever a company thinks about the end user, especially a creative, they're thinking, how is this going to affect the artist? How is this going to affect the digital artist? How can we market our products to those that really, really need them? We need stuff like this. My existing chair was perfectly fine until I sat in this. Now my brand new, I had just purchased a brand new chair, and I was looking to use it for the next 3 to 5 years. And then, Flexispot stepped in and said, "Hey, we'd love you to review our product." And I said, "Absolutely." And I got to be honest with you, once I sat in this, and now for almost a month, I can safely say that it's made a difference. It's made a difference in me being tired whenever I get up, right? If you sit for 6, 7, 8 hours, I take breaks in between, but if you sit for that long, you get up, your legs hurt, your ankles are swollen, your back hurts, your shoulder hurts. And my old chair, not my brand new one I bought, but my old chair, I was getting that. Now that I've got the Flexispot, man, I don't have any of those issues. And I know it sounds so cliche, right? You get the product and then it solved the world hunger issue. I'm being very overboard with it, because whenever you find something that really works in the studio environment, it's hard not to gush, because I appreciate companies thinking of me, right? I know Flexispot has other chairs, right? They've got other chairs, flexispot.com, and they've got desks, right? Desks that move up and down, again, because they're thinking of the fact that if you sit a lot, it's not very healthy, right? And they want you to understand that, you know, you can buy something that accents and helps you be healthier, whether it's a standing desk, a moving desk, an adjustable desk, a chair that is super adjustable and it doesn't cause problems with you in your workflow. And now we come to the second most favorite part of the video, because my first favorite part, that's an interesting statement. My favorite part of the video always is going to be the drawing aspect of it and the teaching aspect, right? Showing you guys what this channel is about, because ultimately we draw here, right? We draw digitally, we draw traditionally, we show what it's like to do that. So, but my second favorite always is to give you guys a monetary break if you're interested in the chair. So the link in the description below will take you to flexispot.com. And if you plug in the exclusive code for this particular channel, which is C730, you will get $30 off. That's a pretty substantial amount. Was that 10%? That's about 10% off of the entire cost of the chair. Now you look at the retail cost, and then you look at the slashed cost. And I think that you take $30 from that slashed cost, and it's a really good value. You guys know that I'm not going to push anything that doesn't apply to the artistic environment. And I believe that chairs are important, not only for your physicality and health of that physicality, your physical body, but also it can't be a deterrent. It can't take away from the artistic process, right? Sitting in an uncomfortable chair or playing a game in an uncomfortable chair, it pulls your concentration. And if you're getting up all the time because your back hurts, your feet are numb, your arm hurts, whatever it is, I think that having a good chair is something that, really pays dividends in the long run. So thank you guys for visiting the channel, and big thanks to Flexispot for letting me review the chair. It is not a sponsorship. It is a review. So in and of that, thank you guys for visiting the channel. Hopefully you like and subscribe and like what you see, and definitely share the video. And we got lots coming up, so stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. All right, guys?